hit my record button. So anything that you say will be used against you in a court of law. So because you're being recorded. So Bridget, what we're going to do is I mute everybody at the beginning. Hi, Sherry. Sherry needs to get a microphone so she can talk to me. Sherry usually types her questions and or her comments. But I mute everybody at the beginning of the call to cut down on the background noise. So what are you using, Bridget, to view the class? Are you on your laptop or your phone or? Okay, so if you hover your mouse over the bottom of your the screen, the Zoom screen, you're going to see some controls pop up.
Yeah.
You see that mute and unmute? So I'm going to mute you, but you can unmute yourself anytime if you have a question. So, but I just like to mute everybody at the beginning of the call just to cut down on the background noise. We had a problem at the beginning, the very beginning back in July when we started doing classes, and a lot of people didn't know how to mute themselves, and I didn't know that I could do it. So Zoom likes to default to something that's called speaker view. So whoever is talking, it will go to their image. If they don't have their webcam on, it'll just be like a blank screen. And that was a little bit distracting. If you want to double tap on my picture, it'll usually stay on my picture too. If you double tap on my image on the screen, how is it appearing to you now, Bridget? Do you see a bunch of squares, or am I big on your screen?
You're big.
Okay, good. That's how you want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and everybody else knows what I do. I move my laptop over here to my craft table, and I put my other webcam in so you're not going to see my gorgeous face anymore for a little while. You're going to see my craft table because this is the best image. And I'm going to get a little sentimental now because my daughter Lindsay, who is now on her way to Colorado, she just texted me. She is in Nebraska tonight. They left yesterday morning, and she's driving across country with her dad to start a new job in Colorado, and she's in Nebraska tonight, and she'll be in Colorado in the morning. But she's the one that actually helped me set up my camera this way, and it's really nice to be able to see what I'm doing. Like I said, you really can't see me, but you don't want to see me, you can see what I'm doing. So let me go ahead and mute everybody. You can unmute yourself if you have a question. Let's see. What do we have here? All right, I think we have everybody. Okay. So this is actually, I think this is the first time we're doing the poof method in a class. And I'll be honest with you, it's not one of my favorite methods, only because in the beginning when I started doing it, I had a hard time getting them the way that I wanted them. The shape didn't come out right for me, and it never really seemed to cover my wreath form, but I have a way that I do it now that I think you're gonna like. And you can see we have a whole bunch of pipe cleaners on here. And I think you saw my video earlier about how to attach them. And I apologize, I shouldn't have laid that white garbage bag down because then you really could see what I was doing, but I didn't want to get any glue on my table. But the reason I have my cutting mat on here too is because I'm going to measure my poofs when I first start getting going, because I want my poofs to be 10 inches. And then you can kind of eyeball them as you go along. But the reason there's so many pipe cleaners is because I like my poofs to be closer together, and they're the same size as you would typically see in the poof method. 10 inches is a pretty standard size for a poof, but I like mine closer together so they're a little bit more squished. That's just the way that I prefer it. So let me get my mesh. This is just 21-inch mesh from Hobby Lobby. Let's see. They tape their mesh together. I don't know why they tape it. Okay. So I like to start on the outside. So you just kind of, for some reason, I don't think I've got the whole image here. Let me see. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay. I'm just going to start Grab the end and kind of bunch it together a little bit. Don't worry about the cut ends fraying or the cut end here, because we're going to tuck that in when we're done. So that's not going to be showing, but there's a couple of frays coming off here. I just want to cut those. We're going to tuck that in at the end. So just kind of gather it up. Oh, come on. I hate frays so much. I was just telling somebody earlier, I'm going to do a free class on using the wood burning tool if anybody's interested in learning how to use that. Because if you ever have a wreath where you cut mesh, it's amazing. It doesn't cut through all kinds of mesh. Like if it has jute in it or burlap, it will not cut through that. Or like the snowball mesh, which is this kind. I got this kind from Joann's the other day. It does not cut through that at all. It won't go through it. Oh, my big pile of mesh just fell over here. Okay. So you don't really need to have that much on the end. Maybe, 3 inches or so. And you just start on one of the outside ties. And you're not going to have to worry about leaving room for ribbon, because I'm not going to attach ribbon streamers on this one. I'm just going to put a bow. So you can go ahead and you can tie it, twist it a few times. If you want to add ribbon streamers, you can, but I'm just not going to on this wreath. I'm going to, like I said, just add a bow. And I'm actually going to take my Pro Bow out tonight, and I'm going to make a bow on my Pro Bow right in front of you guys, and hopefully I won't screw it up because I haven't used it that often yet. Okay, so go ahead. If you have a tape measure, I know some people have the these types of tape measures too that they use to measure the 10 inches. But since I have my mat right here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use that. And you might just want to let your mesh just drop to the floor so it's out of the way. Push my laptop back a little bit. So just go ahead and find your 10-inch mark here. Doesn't have to be exact. Now, it looks like a pretty big poof, but it's okay. Now I'm sliding. You can go ahead and you can poof it out after you attach it to the next tie or before. It just depends on what your preference is. Just go to your very next tie. And you can start poofing it out. And it looks pretty big, but when we get them all on there, they'll squish together nice. You don't have to spray paint your wreath for them. It's entirely optional, but since I'm using white mesh, I really didn't want the dark green to show. Just go down to the next tie. You can snip off these ties afterwards too, unless of course you want to add ribbon streamers. Now, I also know that if you get like a wide foil mesh, which I don't know if I have any here, the more foil or metallic there is in your mesh, the better coverage that you're going to get. This is more of a sheer mesh. You can see through it. But if you have some mesh that has a lot of foil in it, I think I have some here. My pile just fell over. This is from Craft Outlet. This is considered a wide foil mesh. Look how shiny that is. That's going to give you really good coverage too. So think about that when you're doing a project and you want a mesh that's not so see-through. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's going to cover better too. So just keep going around. I'm just sort of like eyeballing it. I'm not making it exactly 10 inches. And that's all we're doing is we're just going to keep going around the outside of the wreath form. I don't know why this poof looks so much bigger than my other ones. I don't know how that happened. I got to fix that. That one looks a little too big. I thought I measured it. That's the beauty of it. If you're not happy with one of your poofs, yeah, that one's, make that one a little bit smaller. We can just tuck that piece in after. I don't know why that one looks so big. Yeah. I've actually made wreaths using the 6-inch Dollar Tree mesh, the really short mesh. I've done poofs with it. It's possible. Trust me, because I've done it. It is possible. It still looks too big to me. Because Dollar Tree mesh is nice. I don't want anybody to tell you don't ever buy it because it's crap. It does fray a lot more than other mesh that you might buy, but if you use it wisely and use it in a method that will work with it, you're going to be fine with it. I've never had any issues with it at all. I've even cut Dollar Tree mesh with the wood burning tool. And I just went ahead and I made that first poof a lot smaller because it was really big. Better to fix it now than after. I'm going to cut a little bit of that off. Just keep going around. I don't think I'm even going to measure it anymore. I think I'm just going to try to eyeball it. I think I can eyeball it from this point. You already have other poofs made, so you can kind of, tell. Whoops. Oopsie. I was just reading some comments in my other group that seems like the Dollar Tree forms are pretty elusive right now. They're sold out online, and you can't find them in the store. I think this guy at the store got mad at me the other day when I called because I called to see if they had any in stock. And he said, oh, no. He goes, we only get those in around the holidays. I said, well, that's not true, but because they don't just get them in around the holidays. I don't know where he got that idea. I might need to measure my poofs from now on because that one I can't seem to get the right size. So.
Chris, I had to order the heart-shaped.
Yeah, I saw your comment.
Pam. I had to buy.
What's that? You ordered the heart shape?
Yeah, because they're. And I can't find the foam heart-shaped one.
What foam ones? Did they make the foam ones? Oh, like the extruded foam or the styrofoam?
The extruded foam, and those aren't anywhere to be found either.
I didn't think they made them in the extruded foam.
They do.
Somebody
Somebody did some piece with, and I thought how pretty. I thought they were the wire, but she said no, she used foam ones, but those are nowhere to be found either. Amazon had them, but they're like 5 inches big. They're not very big.
Oh, what did she put on it?
She just wrapped them in ribbon and then did some floral arrangements on them. Really
I think I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. So They're nowhere to be found. So I'm going to try see if Pat Catan's have them because you can't see what Pat Catan's has online.
Oh, I wish we had
That's the
those
only
around
bad
here.
thing. You don't have them?
No,
Uh,
no.
they're
I
similar
want
to
to
a
go.
Hobby Lobby.
I want to go to my Christmas tree shop. I haven't been there in a while. That's like an hour away, though.
Now
Christmas
that
tree
sounds
shop.
like fun.
I'm surprised a lot of people don't talk about that more because whenever I go to the Christmas tree shop, they have a lot of cute stuff, things for wreaths. Do you have those by you?
We do not.
You ever
But
been to one?
that sounds like a fun store.
Well, I mean, the name, you would think that all they have is Christmas stuff, but they don't. They have everything. Like everything. And it's reasonable.
600 cents sometimes are going now. If you want the black, I have 700 left in the black. Red is most popular.
So I think my poofs are looking pretty uniform. I think I got it down. Yeah, I had a hard time when my daughter left the other day. And I tried to keep it together until the car pulled away. And then I sort of like lost it. Yeah, Colorado's far. But that's okay.
What
She's
part?
only staying right away.
What part of Colorado?
She's just south of, going to be just south of Denver, Englewood.
I have family in Greeley and Arvada.
Ah,
And Arvada is north of Denver, and Greeley is east.
uh-huh.
Gorgeous area, though.
I know. It's my daughters have both been out there and they love the mountains, and so she's excited. That was why she was looking for a job out there, because she wanted to live out there. That was her dream. She even said to me, she said, "Mom, it's going to take a little while to sink in that I'm not just there on vacation, that I'm actually going to be living there." I think she was more sad because of leaving our little Sammy. Bridget, you don't know, but everybody here knows that I have a little Pekingese Chihuahua, and she's old. She's going to be 14, and she's got diabetes, and she's Cushing's disease, and she's blind. And my kids pretty much grew up with her, and I think that was hard for her to leave because we don't really know. One day she might just not be around anymore, and it's hard to think about that, but. So it was hard for her to leave little Sammy. But when she got to the airport, she actually drove an hour away to pick up her dad from the airport, who had driven in from Maine to drive out to Colorado with her. And she texted me, and she texted me a couple little hearts, and she never does that. And like, oh dear. Okay, back to poofs. So we're almost around the whole bottom here. I don't know. I just like ruffles so much more than poofs. But we're going to do the poof. We're going to get this done. Someone told me, or I saw in my other group, that someone had done, that one looks a little too big, that someone had done a ruffle method with 21-inch mesh. Now, I've done a ruffle with 21-inch mesh, but I've done it where I fold it in half, and you have one end that's a poof and one end that's a ruffle. But apparently, she said she saw a video where someone cut the 21-inch mesh into 10-inch pieces and then just ruffled that whole thing up. Now, the only issue that I have with that is you're going to be ruffling it up with the cut ends on the outside. It just seems to me that that would cause a lot of fraying. So I'd love to find out. She was trying to find out who did the video, and she couldn't remember, so I have no idea. So here we are around the end again. So what we're going to do, here's our cut piece, that end there. We're just going to go right over that. to the tie that we put it in. We're going to go over that same tie again right there, if you can see that, with another poof. And there's my doggie howling right now. She still howls. She doesn't bark, she howls like a little wolf. That way we know she's still happy. We were actually talking about it today because a lot of times, now she is blind, but a lot of times she will just kind of like wander, not really wanting anything. She just kind of wanders around the house and we don't know if she's hungry or, and then I was reading that dogs can develop Alzheimer's in their old age just like humans. So, and there's a lot of symptoms that, you know, go along with that. So we're thinking, you know, we want to talk to the vet about that and see if there's anything we can give her for that, just because she gets very anxious sometimes. I keep doing my poofs over. This is another reason why I stay away from the poof method, because I want my poofs to be perfect, and when they're not, I just keep doing them over and over again until they are. So we don't know if maybe there's some cognitive things going on with her. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, let me just fix my poof here, is I'm going to take that piece, that cut piece that I started with, I'm just going to tuck it inside this last poof. I'm just going to hide it right inside there, so you can't see it. It's gone. So there's our outside. Now, all we're going to do, the mesh is falling all over the floor. We're going to go up to the next inside row here. So find your closest tie. And just kind of go up. Measure it again. We're going to go up to that next tie on the inside ring, which is actually not the inside ring, it's the second to the inside ring, the third ring from the outside, and we're just going to start going around that row. I'm not really going to be able to measure them up here because I'm too far away from my mat, so let me get that out of the way. Am I blurry? Let me fix me and my camera here. So now we're just going to have to kind of eyeball it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you doing the poof? Because these ties are closer to each other. So are you skipping one? Or are you doing it on the very next one?
I'm going to the very next one.
But it's still like a 10-inch poof?
It's still a 10-inch poof, but they're going to be closer together.
Okay. Just
So
clarify.
they should be, you know, they should be smaller because they're closer together. That's the whole idea.
Well, you're using just the same amount of mesh, but you're putting them closer together.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Does that make sense, or?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I was doing it right before I got going here.
Yep. Who was that? Was that Bridget?
No, this is Pam Vias.
Oh, okay. I didn't, you know, that was the other Pam. I thought that there was two Pams there. I was trying to talk to you before and you didn't answer, so I wasn't sure. I'm glad you were able to get on. I just didn't realize you were there. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We have two Pams on here, so.
Yeah, my son had come home and he had just went through a tragedy, so I was talking to him.
I'm just fixing my camera here. So, I mean, does that make sense what I'm doing or no?
Yeah. Now, should all the mesh like be underneath each other? Does that matter? Because I didn't start doing that.
What do you mean underneath?
Like, should like the ends be folded underneath the poofs?
Let me plug my laptop in 1 second before I lose battery here. Whoops. Hold on, I got mesh on the floor. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying, Pam, about underneath. I'm not sure what you mean.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So should the sides like kind of be folded under as you go of the
You
mesh?
mean like your poof? Like how I'm poofing it and I'm kind of going under like that? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I sort of like when you're fluffing out your poof, you're kind of tucking under the ends because you want it to be nice and round. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but it doesn't like matter how you put it in to begin with, right?
Well, what I try to do is when I'm going to the next tie, I want to make sure that my ends here, I'm sort of like tucking them under with my hand
Gotcha.
as I'm pulling it to the next one.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
I want those to be tucked in. You're not going to have any fraying from those because those are not cut ends.
Right.
But it just looks better to have them tucked under. Is that what you mean?
I would assume so, but
Yeah.
I'm in a hurry to get started, so my first ones probably don't look as good as my other ones.
Well, if this is the first time you're doing the poof method, it's a little hard to get used to. Again, Pamela, I'll be honest with you and everybody else, this is not one of my favorite methods because, you know, I get frustrated when my poofs aren't all the same size, and I'll sit there and I'll go over each one about 10 times if I have to get it the right size. I love ruffles. I love ruffle wreaths. I love the spiral wreath. The class that we're doing on Saturday for the Valentine's wreath is a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I just don't like poof wreaths that much, but this one is a poof and we're doing it. So just play with it, you know, just play with your poofs and fix them until they're the way you like them. It's good to have a tape measure on hand too, even if you have one of these loose ones.
I'm doing it.
Make sure, you know, when you first start, just to make sure that each one is 10 inches. You know what I mean? If you have one of these, it helps.
Yeah.
But I'm just sort of like eyeballing it. So even though I painted my wreath form white, I can still kind of see my wreath form through it, and that's annoying me, but it is what it is. Not a good time of year to spray paint.
No.
I took it outside to spray paint it because spray paint has such an atrocious smell. And then I brought it in to dry. Ugh, just hate the smell of that. And to think some kids sniff that stuff. Because I always forget when I go and I buy it that they have to call the associate over to like approve it or make sure that you're 18. And then I remember, oh God, people sniff this stuff. Never. I'm just going to wait and I'm going to fluff all my poofs when I'm done. I'm actually excited about the class on Sunday, which is the peacock wreath. I got some really pretty teal mesh in the mail today. I can't even remember where I ordered it from. But I just love how pretty it is. I love that color. I love teal. And I'm actually waiting for my peacock feathers. I ordered some peacock feathers too. Some smaller ones. And I'm looking forward to the Mardi Gras wreath too. That's another one that I'm excited about. So just take your time, Pamela. You know, mesh is so stiff. It's going to want to go in the complete opposite direction that you want it to go in, and that can be frustrating. But just take your time. You know, if you don't finish this, if you're working on it now with me, don't try to rush and keep up with me and make sure that you get it done during class. I know when I did my first wreath in a class like this, I didn't finish. Everybody was way ahead of me, and I was lost. So just, you're going to get the video. If you do attend any class live, you will get the video, so you can always go back and finish it later on at your pace. Now, the one nice thing about this method too, I'm sort of tucking that piece in. You can do that too. You can kind of tuck them into each other to get better coverage. The one thing about this method too is that with the poof, you can always add ruffles on top of your poofs. So I think I even have some more white mesh, like in a 6-inch. So if you look at your wreath when you're done with your poofs and you say, I don't think that looks full enough, you can actually take ruffles and put them on top of your poofs just to add more fullness. That's another thing that you can do with the poof as well. I've seen people do that, and I've done that too sometimes. In fact, I might even do that, even though I didn't tell you guys to buy additional mesh. I'm not really happy with the way that this white is covering my wreath form. I can still kind of see my wreath form. Probably should have gotten a wide foil mesh for this, but that's okay. You can go back around and cut all your little ties off after too. How's it going, Pam Reiger? How does yours look? Aren't you using a snowball mesh?
I am. I found this snowball mesh at Walmart at the end of Christmas, and it's thin and it's only 10 feet. So I'm using 3, and I'm probably being a little creative with my poofs. I went all the way around the center, all the way around the middle, and now
You're so fast.
They are, and now I'm zigzagging between the top and the bottom to make it poofier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I might have to do that too, because I'm not really happy with the way my
this is
covering.
This is a whole lot thinner consistency. You know what I'm saying? It's not as thick as like Craft Outlet.
Yeah, it's Walmart, and this is Hobby Lobby, and there's
Yeah, for $1.50, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, right. So that's another thing too. Depends on where you buy your mesh. You're going to get a much better quality mesh if you order from Craft Outlet. It's a lot thicker.
It seems like Hobby Lobby has gone down in the grade of their mesh. I don't think it's as good as it used to be.
Yeah. I don't think they even carry, like this is a metallic, but I don't think they even carry the wide foil. Now, if we were using a wide foil mesh, the coverage would be perfect.
I haven't seen it at the Hobby Lobby that I shop at. So yeah.
No, I don't think they even carry that.
Yeah, we'd have to order that online.
But like Pam said, Pam Reiger, because we have 2 Pams here now, be creative. Like I know that I told you 24 ties, but if you're done with it and you look at it and you still have mesh left over, there's really no reason why you can't go around again and just add a couple of more ties, or just go right on top of the ties that you already have there. No, I don't like the way that poof looks. That looks really weird, so let's fix that.
Well, I can't wait. I put an order into Mardi Gras Outlet.
Did you?
I did. I finished it today for some embellishments and just a little bit of ribbon. But my order from craft outlet is already here for Mardi Gras.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So I've got my mesh. I'm happy with that. It was the embellishments that I was having trouble finding.
I'm waiting for my mesh still. I couldn't find the kind I wanted from Craft Outlet, so I had to order it from Trend Free, and they were on vacation for a little while, so they're just starting to ship their orders now. But I got a bunch of ribbon. What do I have here? Let me see. I could not find this on Craft Outlet, so I had to order it from an Etsy shop. I love that ribbon. I love that.
I found that somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
Must have been
I know I
Craft
didn't get it
Outlet.
from Craft Outlet because they were sold out. They sold out of a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
And
I've
look at
already
this. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this, but isn't that gorgeous? Look at that.
Ooh, that is pretty.
Isn't that pretty with the purple and
I
everything?
love that.
That's gorgeous.
Isn't that gorgeous? See, this shop that I order from on Etsy is called Perpetual Ribbons, and they always tie your ribbon up with these little bows. I just love that.
They've got some awesome ribbon there.
I think my other ribbon for Mardi Gras is in my my Craft Outlet box over there. So
I'm going to have to wait to do the Mardi Gras. We don't have the money right now for me to get everything I want for it.
yeah, and you know it's expensive. Those wreaths are expensive because of the embellishment. I paid $20 for the mask alone.
Well, I got to do this one, the Valentine, and my Easter one. So
Did you guys happen to go to Big Lots? Is anybody doing the St. Patrick's Day wreath? Did you see that they have the leprechaun at not Hobby Lobby, Big Lots?
I got a
one for my husband's niece. She is big, big, big into St. Patrick's Day. But
Really?
her Christmas gift.
I was surprised how big this leprechaun was when I saw it at Big Lots because it looked really small in the wreath. My mesh is all over the place here.
Yeah, that's a good question.
He's a big boy. All right, so this is my last tie here, but I may go around again because I can still see my wreath form, and that's
I would unmute yourself.
not copacetic with me. See that, Pammy? I can use big words too. Remember you used plethora? I love that word plethora. The plethora of poinsettias. All right, so here we've gone around twice. And you can kind of tuck your mesh into each other. Tuck your poofs. But if you're not happy with the coverage, you can definitely go around again. And
What happens if you don't have enough to go around again?
what's that? If you don't have enough mesh?
Go around again. I'm not happy with the coverage at all.
What, you have a 21-inch roll. Where'd you get it from?
Oh, where did I buy this from? Joann's?
Joanne's. What's the length on it? Was it 30 feet or is it not 30 feet?
I didn't save that.
Because I still have quite a bit left on my roll here. Did you spray paint your wreath form or no?
I did. I spray painted it white. I'm using white. I don't know if you can see it.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me get all my images up on here. Do you have your webcam on?
Yeah, I believe it's on. Yeah, it's on.
No, I can't. Who is that talking? This is Pam?
Pam Tobias, right.
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Hi. I'm looking at it because you're kind of small on my screen here.
Sorry. Yeah,
I can't see your wreath form though. Do you think maybe your poofs might be? I think some of your poofs are a little bit bigger than your other ones, maybe. I think the coverage is pretty good, but I really can't tell. I can't tell from this.
Yeah, I can definitely, I don't know, like I can definitely see the inner.
Yeah, I can see it on mine too. That's kind of bothering me. I wish I'd gotten a wide foil mesh.
Would it be, Would it be good to make the smaller poofs, make smaller poofs and go around the inside with it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna.
I'd hate to have you take it apart, but I'm thinking maybe you need just to make your poofs a little bit smaller. Now, I think what I'm going to do, because I've got some gaps here, I see these gaps here. I think what I'm going to do, because I do have some mesh left over, this is where you kind of need to get creative. Let me find my pipe cleaners. I'm just going to keep filling in because I have spaces here, and I'm not even going to bother cutting my pipe cleaner. I'm just going to kind of go through where I see a gap, and I'm going to add another pipe cleaner. Don't worry about gluing it in. I'll cut off that extra afterwards. I'm just going to start going through like Pam Reiger did. Just add a few more poofs. And I apologize. I think, depends on where you buy your mesh. I think
It was
a 21-inch roll has 30 feet on it. But I don't know how big Joann's is. I thought Joann's was the same.
It was 30 feet.
Some Joann's mesh here, but it's 10-inch. I'm sorry, Pam? Pamela?
It was 30. It was 30.
It was 30?
Yeah.
So maybe your poofs are just a little bit too big. Did you measure them, or did you just kind of eyeball them?
No, I measured them.
You measured?
Yeah.
So I think what I'm going to do here is, you see how we skipped, when we put our pipe cleaners on, we skipped a wire. We skipped this one. I'm just going to kind of go around and add some more mesh to this wire. And I apologize, you guys. I think it's just because this mesh is so thin that we're having an issue with the coverage. But I do this with ruffles sometimes too. If I'm making a ruffle wreath and I see that there's gaps, I'll just go ahead and I'll add more pipe cleaners and add more ruffles if I have the mesh. There's nothing wrong with that.
You don't have her downstairs, do they?
Christina, what would it look like if you combined one of the methods on that middle part where you're filling in and did like either the ruffle or the spiral to fill in?
You could definitely do that. Absolutely. Yeah. But I wouldn't want to do it with a 21-inch mesh.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to do a lot more cutting.
So go back in with your 10-inch mesh and fill in?
You can do, I would do 10-inch, yes. If you have any of a similar color, if you have more white and a 10-inch, definitely, that would be pretty.
Really light blue.
That would be really pretty.
Light blue that I thought would be pretty in that center part.
Absolutely. I've definitely seen that done. I just don't have any 10-inch. I'm going to cut these pipe cleaners off afterwards, but this is the challenge of wreath making. You kind of have to sometimes make it up as you go along. And then you stop and think to yourself, that really looks good. And I think, again, if we had gotten a mesh, or if you purchased a mesh that was thicker, like the wide foil, you would not have this issue. Now it's already filling it in better. And I'm going to kind of tuck the poofs into each other. I'm going to cut all these off after all these extras, all these extra pipe cleaners. Maybe I will cut these in half. I don't really want to waste these. So I'm just kind of going around on that wire that we skipped. I'm adding some more. I know you really can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just adding some more pipe cleaners. And since I have the mesh, I'm just kind of going around that wire. Or like you said, if you have any 10-inch mesh, I would cut it into 10-inch pieces and make yourself a little ruffle. And that would be gorgeous. Light blue would be really pretty. I know Joanne's had a light pink too, because I just bought some. They had really pretty spring colors, and I had a gift card, so I went and I just bought all mesh because it was on sale. I think I am going to have enough to go around. How's yours looking, Pam Reiger?
Let me show you. You'll be able to see it. Okay. Are you able to see it?
Are you holding it up? Is that the blue? Oh, that's pretty. Is that a blue snowball mesh? Is that what that is? Or like a light blue? Very pretty. I'm just gonna keep going around and attaching, and then I'm gonna.
There I am. It's like a nice.
That's pretty. Very pretty. I like that. I love the snowball mesh.
I do too.
That's the color blue I was talking about going back in the middle.
That would be gorgeous. Definitely. You have that in a 10-inch? That color?
I'm going to look for it.
Go to Joanne's. Hold on. I got this at Joanne's. It's like a light,
Yeah.
light blue.
That's pretty.
Yes.
Isn't that pretty?
Yep. I got that, and they had a pretty lavender, and then I got that pink snowball mesh.
Well, where I'm at, the Joann's that we have closest is really, really small. I'm going to have to go into Mesquite or Dallas to a bigger Joann's to get that color.
Oh, okay. They don't have mesh at the one that's near you?
Very little. Very,
Isn't
very.
that odd how they have like different sizes of these stores? It's strange to me.
I think they do it based on population.
Right.
So.
My wreath is
Our
falling off
Michael's
the
is
table.
really small too.
What's that?
I said our Michael's is really small too, but our Hobby Lobby is a good size.
Yeah, our Joann's is really small too. Here in, I'm up here in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Is that
So
Robin?
I've got to go to Milwaukee to get anything decent. Our Hobby Lobby closed because they tore our mall down to put a big chain grocery store in.
I didn't
So,
recognize your voice because you're sick. You sounded.
I
Oh, you poor thing. I was like, who is that? I don't recognize your voice.
and I have to go to work tomorrow. This should be good.
Oh, no. Robin, it's time for you to retire.
No kidding.
Like you said, let the young ones do the waiting on the tables.
Oh, God, I wish I could, but, in this economy, you just can't make it. It sucks.
It does.
That's why I'm trying to get my
I'm 52
business
years
off.
old, and I want to be on a beach somewhere drinking a pina colada. I don't want to work anymore.
My God, so do I. Take me there now.
Jeez. I always go for the good-looking guys, not the ones that have money. That's my problem. They're good-looking and they have no money. We're all the good-looking ones that have money, Robin.
I don't know.
I don't know. What the heck?
They're not here in Wisconsin, let me tell you.
I'm not here in upstate New York either.
Sometimes I think I'm just better off by myself.
Oh, I hear ya. Yes, ma'am.
That's where I'm lucky. Joe and I will be married 30 years next month.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's so awesome. I'm so
That's
jealous.
great.
My parents were together for a long time too. My parents were married probably 50 years before they passed away.
My parents were married 40 years before my mom passed away, and Joe's parents were married 55 years before his dad passed away.
Wow,
So
that's great.
we went into it with the attitude of divorce was not an option.
There you go.
And trust me, he's had many reasons to leave me.
Aw, you sound like a sweetheart. I can't believe that.
We're very blessed, and we're very lucky to have each other. So
Oh, that's awesome. See, that's the way you have to look at it. I think that's the key. You'll never take your partner for granted. I think a lot of people have a tendency to do that, and that's where the problems start to arise.
well, we had an eye-opener April 6th of 2016. Our house caught on fire.
Oh my goodness.
Our gas grill blew up, and
Oh my gosh.
had he been outside standing in front of that grill 30 seconds earlier, he would have been standing in front of it and
Oh
probably
my
would have.
gosh. Oh my gosh, how scary.
It was just that reminder of don't take advantage, because you don't know how long you're going to have it.
Yeah. So what caused it to blow up?
We know that it was the propane tank. We had cooked out that night, and we had just put a brand new propane tank on it, and the relief valve blew off while we were eating dinner, and it was just like a blowtorch.
Oh my gosh, how
It
scary.
was underneath our patio. It was on our patio underneath the ceiling, and boy, once it hit the attic, it was gone.
Oh my gosh.
But he and our neighbors were out there with the iron rakes trying to pull the grill out from underneath. They couldn't get close enough to even reach it because it was so hot. But
Oh my gosh.
he was getting ready to head out there to clean it and, get it put away for the next time. And he got distracted, and had he not gotten distracted, he would have been standing in front of that when it exploded.
Oh, how scary. Was there like any damage to the house or anything?
Total loss to the house. We lost everything.
Wait a minute. So your whole house caught on fire and you lost your house because of that?
Yes, because
Oh my
it was on our
gosh.
covered patio.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that was, and that's attached to the house. So when it hit once it reached the ceiling on the patio, the roof is right there, which is for the
Right.
attic. And
And it
once
probably
hit
spread
that,
very fast.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That's
No,
terrible.
it's okay. We were taken care of. We made it out alive. Our fur babies made it out alive.
Oh yeah. Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. We rebuilt, and we're home, and now I'm learning how to do all these wreaths for all the
There
different.
you go. There you go. So I actually have some left, but not much. And I'm kind of looking to see, I don't really have any place else to put anymore, even if I wanted to. So I'm going to cut this off. Here I am blurry again. I apologize, ladies. I don't know why my camera goes blurry sometimes. I can't afford to buy a Mevo like some of these wreath makers have. Those are expensive. I would love to get one though. So I'm just going to kind of cut off like a few inches so I can tuck that in to one of my poofs and hide it. Just find a poof somewhere you can tuck it into. Now here's where you can play with your poofs and kind of fix them a little bit. I think it helped that I added that extra row. Definitely ruffles would be a nice idea. There's lots of things that you can do with the poof to make it look fuller. I'm going to just kind of cut away some of these pipe cleaners. Now, if you were going to be adding ribbon streamers, you're not going to want to cut these extra pieces of pipe cleaner off. That would be what you would attach your ribbon streamers to. We can do a wreath at some point where we add ribbon to a poof. You can actually even tuck them underneath if you want. You don't necessarily have to cut them off. You can just kind of tuck them around underneath. Mine are white, so you know they're not really going to stand out anyway. So just kind of go around. And again, even if you want to take some of your poofs and tuck it into the one next to it, just to kind of cover any gaps. Once you add your embellishments and things, because we're going to be adding our poinsettias, and I have some pretty little pink and silver balls I'm going to be adding, which I probably need to plug my glue gun in. And now I'm blurry again, folks. I'm sorry. It's only 9 o'clock. I thought it seemed like we've been working on this for like an hour and a half, but it's only 9 o'clock Eastern time here. I have to stand my wreath up for a second, guys, so I can look at it. It's hard for me to kind of tell where it's at. If it's leaning down, I kind of have to stand it up. Darn camera. Don't mind me while I play with my poofs. I think I probably should get my glue gun plugged in here. Okay. Let's see, I think that looks as good as it's gonna get. And it really is just a thin mesh, so. What do you think, you guys? Not too bad? Pammy?
No, I think it looks good. I like the shimmer.
Yeah, the Hobby Lobby mesh has like a light metallic thread running through it. And if, you know, we're going to be adding our poinsettias, try to place your poinsettias where you see maybe a little bit of your wreath form. And this one came out, this poof came out, so let me put this one back in. I'm tugging at it. Back in there. Well, they're all coming out. I don't know why that pipe cleaner is so short. Let me get another pipe cleaner there. That one's just way too short. That's why it's coming out. I think I may have cut that one a little bit too short. There we go. Okay. Let me plug my glue gun in. I'll get my poinsettias out. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do while my glue gun is heating up? Let's make a bow. We're going to use the Pro Bow. And that's going to be the first time I've ever used the Pro Bow in my classes. I did a hand-tied bow in the last class. We're just going to make a simple bow because I have a really pretty pink and I have a really pretty silver ribbon that I'm going to use. Does anybody here have a Pro Bow?
I have one.
I have one.
I have one.
Yay! Have you used it yet?
I've used it once.
I had mine for a while before I used it, so where's my spool holder? I think I need that too.
That's what I'm asking for my anniversary gift.
So, this is the large, and this is the spool holder. I need to get my dowels. Hold on a second. I'm only going to be using 2 different kinds of ribbon, though, so I'm only going to put 2 dowels in for, I think those are 2 long dowels in for my spool holder. And I have this pink, pretty shiny pink, and I have the silver. If you can see that my light is so bright in here.
Go away, my kitty.
Pam's getting her poinsettias out. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can make bows. There's the terry bow, and the terry bow is just basically strips of ribbon. You don't put the full spools on your spool holder. It's just strips of ribbon. I haven't made one of those yet. That's coming up next. But this is like the basic setup for your dowels when you're making a standard bow, I guess you call it. You have one here, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I have it on row C. This is just like if you go to the Pro Bow the Hand website, that's the one that Regina Sellers does in her tutorial. So I'm just going to put both ribbons on here. You can see that. And you need to have wire. You want to get like a good length of wire. This is just regular floral wire. I don't know what gauge it is, if you can see that. Can you even see my wire? You want to get a good length, maybe like a foot or so. All right. It's the first time I've done this in class, so let's see how it goes. Get your 2 ribbons together. Those are pretty. Okay. Make a little pinch on the end, maybe 1 inch or so. I just realized this pink ribbon isn't wired. Oh well, that'll be fine. And then you take this little pinch, and you put it right in the middle of your wire. You're going to twist it around a couple of times. You're going to have one wire going up and one wire going down, and I really can't see that. Okay. So you actually go up around this first loop here, this first, not loop, this first peg, like that, and you take your wire, the one that's going up, and you wrap it around the top of this peg a couple of times. Middle peg here on the bottom. And this one, you have a little nail down here, and you're going to go around that just a couple of times because you don't want to be pulling at it to get it off. And then I usually just tuck the other end of the wire up underneath the board so it's out of the way. So you have one wire going up here, and you have one down here, and it's anchored in the middle. And all you do is you start making loops. Now, if you see her in the video doing it, when she gets to this point, she twists it. And the only reason she does that is because if you have some ribbon that has a pattern on one side, you want to make sure that your pattern is always facing up. So when you pull your bow off, all your patterns are facing out. This one doesn't have a pattern. It's pretty much the same on both sides. So I'm not even going to bother twisting it when I go around. I might anyway, only because it'll keep it gathered together on the bottom, but then you have to extra ribbon over here. So I don't think I'm even going to twist that. I'm just going to keep it like that. And you just keep going around. Go up around again, this one. Keep your ribbons laying flat. Go back down around. Go around the next one. And again. You're just going up around your pegs is all you're doing. Now I might add additional tails at the end because the one thing I don't like about this bow, the method to make this bow, is that when you're done, you have one tail like this and one tail like this. I don't think that's enough. So I'll show you what I'm going to do afterwards. I'm just going to make a couple of more tails. And all I do is I just cut a couple of extra pieces of ribbon and wire it to the bottom, and you have these tails. So I'm going to make them kind of long. We'll dovetail them after. Now, what you need to do is then grab your wire you need to really, this is the part that a lot of people have trouble with, is making sure that this is tight when you're twisting it. It's got to be really, really tight. And you just lift it off without lifting up your pegs. There's glitter everywhere. There you go. Now, I have to fluff it. This big old piece of wood, which is called the fluff box. People make their own. You know, the Pro Bow itself is patented. You really can't make one of those, but you can make your own fluff box. She actually encourages it, so. All you do is you just, there's a little hook here and there's a nail here. You just sort of secure it, and it just holds it for you. while you fluff it. That's all. That's all it does. So you can pull on it and do what you need to do. This is just a simple 2-ribbon bow. And again, this is not wired. I had no reason. I did not know it wasn't wired. I thought it was. It seems to be holding its shape pretty well. You know, it's difficult, you know, when you're in the store picking out ribbon, and, you know, sometimes it says on the package that it's wired, sometimes it doesn't, and you try to reach in and pull it out. You don't really want to do that, you know, to feel if it's wired or not. You just kind of fluff it. You don't have to add a bow to yours. If you want to just add ribbon streamers, you can certainly do that.
Where do I find those little streamers?
The what, honey?
Those little ringlet streamer things.
What do you mean?
I don't know. They look like little flexible straws.
Do you mean the flex tubing? Is that what you mean?
That's probably the name.
Like, you see how people, they make like little bows and they add it to their, let me see if I have some. Hold on a second. I know I do.
I have a 11-week-old kitten here helping me.
A what? A kitten? Oh, I love kittens.
11-week-old kitten.
Aw.
Monster. Want to see her?
Sure.
Can you see her?
Hold on, let me get your picture in front of me again.
That is so cute.
Hold on, I'm trying to find you. Ah, how cute. I love kittens.
Mwah.
Aw. So here's my simple little bow, and I'm fighting with it because I didn't realize my pink ribbon was not wired. So it's giving me a little bit of a hard time, but it doesn't look too bad. What do you think?
Looks good.
Bunny, are you still with me?
Oh yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Was that
I
you?
finished.
That was you.
I finished making the wreath, and my shoulder just gave out. I just said I'm not going to be able to finish, so I'll just watch
Honey, go
the
lay
bow
down.
making.
I hope you feel better.
Oh, I will. It's just father time, I think.
Aw.
Your voice beautiful, Christina.
Oh, thank you. Who was that?
Linda.
That's what I thought. I'm getting to know your voices better. And I recognized your Canadian accent too. So
My French.
me and Linda had fun with the New Year's wreath. It was just me and Linda for the class. She had like a one-on-one
Even had the
class with me
champagne.
because everybody else was busy.
My Christina, we even had the champagne.
We did. Now, what I'm going to do is a lot of times I'll finish fluffing my bow when I get it on the wreath. And again, this pink ribbon's going to give me a hard time because it's not wired, but I think once it's laying flat on the wreath. Now, remember what I said, I want to add extra tails because I like to have more than just two. So all I'm going to do is just get another length of ribbon. I got to think about how long I want it now. It's so easy to add extra tails. All you do is just cut, like I said, cut an extra length of ribbon. Blurry again, hold on. So you guys, you just witnessed me making my first pro bow ever in a class. I've been kind of afraid to do it because the pro bow and I are still becoming friends. It's, you know, I was always very bow challenged. So all I'm doing is I'm just pinching it together in the middle, just trying to find the center. We have the same amount on either side. I'm going to add a bunch of tails here. And you just add it. You just wire it in. That's all you do. You have some extra tails. It might even be a little bit too long. I may have to cut those down a little bit. We'll cut those down when we get them on the wreath. Because I wanted more tails. So we're going to put this aside for now, and I'm going to finish fluffing it when I get it on my wreath. That wasn't too horribly difficult. Put my heavy little block of wood away. I was actually very fortunate, and Regina Sellers sent me the Pro Bow as a gift, so I didn't have to pay the huge shipping for the big block of wood, the fluff box, so that was nice of her. All right, let's get our wreath back. And we're going to add our stuff. Okay, let's see. All right, now what I have is I have some pretty little ornaments that I found online. And I just have pink poinsettias. I found some pink ones. I could not find white poinsettias. All I could find were pink. So that's what I'm going to be using. Blue would be pretty if you have blue. And we're just going to start placing them. Now this is where I want to be creative with my placement, because I want to kind of find spots that might have little gaps, and that's where you are lucky and you can cover those gaps. Uh-oh, why did this heat up? Am I not plugged in? Oh, good Lord. Oh, not plugged in. Let's put that over here for a second. Maybe I'll put my bow on. Let's see. And you just find a space in your wire. I'm going to kind of put it to the left. You'll notice that when you add your bows to your wreaths, or if you see them anywhere posted, that the left side is a good spot to put them. And the reason for that, and I know I've told the story before, is that the brain looks at things and they look from left to right. So you don't really ever see people put bows on the right-hand side because it just doesn't look appealing to your brain. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. Let me snip off this extra here. Now I'm going to play with it a little bit. And I can dovetail the ends. See, it is possible to use unwired ribbon. And I knew this is what was going to happen. Once I got it on the wreath, it was going to kind of help. The mesh was going to kind of help my unwired ribbon to stand up a little bit. So that's what I'm trying to have it help me here. Just going to kind of push it up. And if you're like me, you'll be playing with your wreath for a little while after the camera's off. I've spent many nights staying up and rearranging what I made and moving things and adding things. So a lot of times the wreath that you see me make in class always looks a little bit different once I finally post a picture because I'm just playing with it a little bit. And I kind of want this pink to lay on the bottom so the silver shows. While we're waiting for our glue gun to heat up here, or my glue gun. So let me just cut these off on the ends, make a little dovetail, make it pretty. There. I'm sure I'll be playing with that bow for a little while tonight. Not too bad though. How's that look, you guys? Yes, no? Whoop, I'm blurry. There we go. What do you guys think of the bow? Be honest, Pammy. Anybody there?
Yeah, it looks
It's
denty.
It looks nice.
You
Good.
guys are all looking for your mute button because I muted you. You're like, wait a minute.
I love that. I like.
Again, it's my pink wire, my pink ribbon's not wired, so I'm trying to do the best I can to get it to do its thing.
Looks nice.
Oh, thank you.
Christina, on the hair bows that I do, if they're not wired, they say spray it with hairspray and that helps it hold better.
Oh, okay. I just tend to stay away from the unwired ribbon because I don't want to fuss with it, but that's a good idea. And actually, I watched a video last night. I don't know if anybody knows Julie from Julie's Wreath Boutique. She does a lot of the flower wreaths. She did a live last night where she used a burlap fabric to make a wreath, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And she actually sprayed it with an acrylic sealant, and that helped to stiffen it a little bit, so it held its shape a little bit better. So that's always an option too. But there's my bow. I'll probably play with it a little bit more. But now that my glue gun is heated up, I want to add. I want to start adding some of my embellishments here, so I don't keep you online with me all night. What time do we have here? Well, it's only 9:30. We're good. All right. I'm sorry to keep stopping my video here. I'm just trying to keep myself clear.
Oh, this isn't chat.
Oh, hold on one second. I'm just trying to. There. Okay. Just going to start adding my poinsettias. not the exact same color pink, but I think they'll look good together. Try to find some spaces that might have gaps. So you'll find that this will help you fill in as well. If you still want to go through and add ribbon streamers, which I might even do, I'm not sure yet. All you need to do is just determine how long you want them. And sometimes you kind of have to, experiment a little bit because you want them to be able to show above your mesh. You want them to stick out enough. But if you're going to be adding ribbon streamers, just take your ribbon streamer and pinch it in the middle. If you've seen people add ribbon streamers to wreaths, and twist your pipe cleaner around it and then just feed it through. You can feed it right through the mesh and attach it to your wreath frame, and then you can add your ribbons that way. I didn't plan on adding ribbons to this, any ribbon streamers. But we're going to be adding them to the Valentine's wreath on Saturday. Bear with me, guys. I'm just kind of eyeballing it to see where I want to put another one here. I don't know if I want one up on the top block. That might be overdoing it. I might just put one over here. Sorry about that. You can find a lot of neat things on Amazon. I think, Pam, you said you got your poinsettias from Amazon. That's where I got mine. But you have to be careful. You have to look where your item is shipping from. A lot of times they're coming from Hong Kong or China, and I try to stay away from those because you're not going to see your stuff for weeks. And you're thinking when you first see it, oh my God, that's such a great price. And then you look, and it's coming from some foreign country, and, don't plan on getting it anytime soon. So you really have to be kind of careful where you're ordering from. Now I have these little balls. I'm just going to start adding these here and there. I think I have some silver too. I'm going to add some silver. I think I have some, and it's a good thing I didn't put those away. I put away all my Christmas stuff recently. Well, those are gold. I don't want gold. I want silver. I have some silver too. I might have done a little bit of overkill on the poinsettias, but I wanted to use all the ones I had, so that's kind of what I did. Maybe not. I have some pretty silver. I'm going to throw a couple silver ones in there. So I posted in the group earlier today. I don't know if you guys saw it. I think someone had posted a question and they wanted to know, they're new, you know, they're a newbie, you know, what the best way is to cut mesh. And I love my wood burning tool. I will most definitely recommend the wood burning tool to anybody as far as helping with controlling fraying. So I was thinking I want to do a class, but it won't be a paid class. It'll just be a class for anybody that wants to join in, and of course I'll record it, just showing me using the wood burning tool. It's very important, though, that you have to have a big piece of glass, or I don't want to say a big piece of glass. I actually have an old storm window that I use, that I found in my basement, and I lay my cutting mat right underneath it. That way I can measure as I'm using my wood burning tool. And for those of you who don't know what the wood burning tool looks like, it's basically just a soldering iron is really all it is. It's just a soldering iron. It gets very, very hot. There's your tip there. It's got like a little point down the end if you can see that. There it is. And you still have to be careful. You still have to be very careful when you're cutting to cut in between the lines of your mesh, because if you don't, you're still going to have fraying. So, but it really does help. It really does cut down. It doesn't eliminate, but it definitely does cut down on your fraying a lot. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to have a class. It'll be a free class. Anybody that wants to join in, because it'll definitely be a life changer. I always cut my mesh with the wood burning tool. Now for something like what I showed you, and actually this is the mesh that I'm using in my class on Saturday for the Valentine's wreath. This is a jute poly mesh, okay? Now all jute poly mesh is just regular deco mesh, but it's got lines of burlap running through it. And again, your wood burning tool is not going to cut that. So when I cut this, I'm going to use my scissors, and I just am careful to go right through the lines. And yeah, it takes a while, But even if you use the rotary cutter and you cross over those lines, you're asking for phrase. So that's it. That's my story. The end. Let's see what else I want to add. I need to stand this up for a second here. I do not like the way this poof looks in the back. It's annoying the crap out of me. I need to tuck that in a little bit. I'm not quite sure who mentioned that they wanted to do additional ruffles. I don't remember who that was, but I would love to see that when you're done. I think it would be really pretty. I'm just sort of going in the back and tucking in a little bit of my poofs that are sticking out funny on the top because they're annoying me, just to get them to. And you can do that. You can go around to the back of your wreath and just kind of tuck it in a little bit. That's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of tucking it in. It doesn't look so big and weird shaped. And I'm being honest with you guys when I say the poof isn't one of my favorite methods, and this is why.
I'm going to say goodnight, ladies.
Okay, good night.
Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help at all with anything.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good night.
Night.
I'm just going to add a few more balls, and then I think I'm going to be done too. I don't really want to overdo it. I'm going to put some more silver down here.
You know, you were talking about glass for the wood burners that you were talking about that. I went to an autos a glass place, where they put windshields in and do mirrors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I got a piece of glass, a tempered glass, for like $10.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah,
That's
so
great,
it wasn't expensive at all, and I had a certain size I wanted, and it was close. It wasn't exactly, I didn't have to have it cut. They had pieces already cut there, so
that's a great idea.
Yeah, just thought I'd throw that out.
I have this little storm window in my basement, and I grabbed it. I'm like, okay, I'm using that.
Yeah, but I wanted tempered glass. I didn't want regular glass.
Yeah, some people use cutting boards, but I think it's important to have a clear piece of glass. That's why, like I said, you could lay your measuring mat underneath it while you're cutting.
Right. And they already had the little feet pad, the little pads on the rubber type pads on the bottom of the glass, so I could just set it down on on my table, and it was fine.
Awesome.
So it worked out great.
So you use the wood burning tool and you like it then?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Me too. I love mine. I don't know. I think I'm done with this. I'm just kind of looking to see if I want to add. Does somebody have a question? I stand it up sometimes because it's easier for me to see. I really need to get one of those wreath easels. The wreath easels are awesome. I'm just kind of standing it up to see if I want to add something and where I want to add it. And I don't want to over embellish. Some people say you can never over embellish, and I like a lot of bling. For some reason, you don't really want to overdo it. Like, especially, I feel very strongly about not overdoing a burlap wreath. I think burlap is so naturally pretty. I don't like to add a lot to that. Deco mesh, you can. How's yours looking, Pammy?
I'm fussing.
What?
Bow.
You're fussing with your bow? You're cutting out there. I lost you for a second.
Can you see the wreath?
Mine. Are you showing me yours? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah. Pretty. I love that. So pretty.
So tomorrow it'll be done. Today I'm just fussing.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing the same thing. I don't want you guys to sit here and wait for me while I fuss with my little balls here. That doesn't sound right, but anyway, this is what I have so far. I might have overdone it with my poinsettias. I don't know, but I wanted to kind of use them all. What do you guys think? Be honest.
It's Robin. I like it.
You won't
I
hurt
do
my
too.
feelings. Hi, Robin. You do,
Hi.
for real?
I'm just going to, Christina, I'm going to leave you right now. I'm
You
going
don't
to
feel good.
I just don't feel good right now. So
We're wrapping up anyway. You're not going to miss anything. I feel so bad for you, honey. Go lay down and get some rest.
that's what I'm going to go do. Thank you.
Oh, all right, honey. Good night.
Good
Night.
to feel better.
Thank you.
Christina, that's pretty, but pink is my favorite color, so.
I love pink. I'm just concerned about my bow. My bow is bothering me. Do you guys like my bow?
I love your bow.
I'm mad that my pink isn't wired.
I love the bow.
Thank you.
I don't
I think
think you need anything to
What?
it.
What's that?
I said, you don't need to do anything to the bow.
Thank you. I think I'm done, though. I don't think I want to add too many more balls, although it may look entirely different when I post the picture tomorrow or tonight. I know it's crazy, but whenever I get done with a class, I make coffee, even though it's 10 o'clock at night. I'll still be asleep in a couple hours, even if I have coffee. But, yeah, I always have coffee after class, and I sit and I mess with my wreath. I want to add another ball or no? No, I think I'm good. I think I'm going to call it a night, ladies.
Yeah, I'm going
Do
to
you have
work
any
on
more
my.
questions? Or I apologize that, we ended up having to use more mesh than I thought. I've done the poof method a lot with this setup with the pipe cleaners, but I think it's just because this mesh was so sheer, because it was a white, that we needed to add that extra row in the middle for coverage. But, that's when you have to just kind of think outside the box and, kind of do what you have to do to make it look right. And I think we saved it. It looks pretty full, and I filled in the spots, and that's it. So please be sure to post your wreaths when they're done. And I guess I'll see you guys Saturday for the Valentine's Day wreath.
Okay.
I'll be with you all in spirit. I have to work on
I
Saturday.
know, I'm sorry.
I know, but you know how it goes. Somebody
Yeah,
has to
Saturday-
take care of the sick.
Huh?
My daughter from San Antonio is going to be here, and my best friend from Fort Worth is going to be here, so I'll have to play it by ear.
Okay, well, you can always get the video. A lot of people who can't make the class, they get the video, and then they can make their wreath whenever they have time. So that's fine, too.
But I'm going to work on this one tomorrow after I get my girlfriend from Fort Worth.
I can't wait to see it.
Come and work on that one. But yeah, I like the idea of doing the two methods of the poof and the ruffle.
Yeah, you can do ruffles in the middle, or you can do spirals. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done the ruffle or the spirals. All I've ever done is the poof. So
I love ruffles, and we're doing the spiral on Saturday. So I'm trying to think. I think I was going to do the poof for the peacock wreath on Sunday, but I'm doing ruffles instead. That's why I got this teal 10-inch mesh. I just don't know how big of a ruffle I want to use. You can do a 30-inch ruffle, which may seem like a really big ruffle, but it makes a gorgeous full wreath. And the reason why the longer ruffles are nice is because if you make a longer piece of mesh that you ruffle, then you have less cuts to do and you have less frames. So.
okay, on this one, if I do go in with the ruffles in the center to help fill in, do I want to do 10-inch ruffles?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Please.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that would be good. It's not going to be that huge. It seems like it's going to be big, but a 10 by 10-inch piece of mesh really isn't that big. And then when you ruffle it up. And you know what you can even do? When I do a ruffle, and it's kind of hard to explain because I don't have a piece of mesh. You know how your mesh naturally kind of curls
Yes.
When I do a ruffle sometimes with a smaller piece of mesh, you can't really do it with a bigger piece. I just sort of like let it roll into itself, and I just pinch it in the middle. So I don't do the scrunching thing. I just like lay it down and let it roll, and I just pick it up, make sure that the cut ends are in, and I pinch it. So it doesn't really look like a spiral because spirals are a lot tighter.
Right.
But you're going to find out that you'll cut down your fraying a lot by doing it that way too.
Okay.
You might want to try that. Does that make sense how I explained it to you? I wish I had a piece of mesh I could show
No, I
you.
know exactly what you're talking about.
Maybe I do. Hold on a minute. You do
Because I've
know though?
watched Ruth's videos and everything else on the ruffle method.
Hold on a second. I have a piece of mesh here. So this is a 10 by 10 inch piece.
Okay.
That's fraying. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so normally when you do, and I don't know why I bought this mesh, it doesn't have any metallic in it. I was very disappointed when I got it, so I never used it. Normally when you're doing the ruffle, you scrunch it up the middle, like that.
Right.
Right? And there's your ruffle. And then here's all your frays. So what I do, see how it's kind of doing this little thing?
Uh-huh.
I just sort of tuck it in. Tuck those cut ends in so you're not really rolling it. Just kind of tuck it in so those cut ends are underneath that, and I just pinch it. It kind of looks like a spiral, but it really isn't. And then when you put it in, and it kind of goes up like that, it looks like a little ruffle.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And all your little cut ends are hiding inside. So, and I knew you said you knew what I was talking about, but I had to show you anyway because I'm just.
No, that's okay. That's perfect.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for doing this.
I
Night,
love doing
ladies.
this. I love it. Good night, guys. Good night, Pammy. Good night,
Night.
Bonnie. Good night, Sherry.
Bye.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, everybody.
You know what I mean by that, right?
Yes, I do.
Good night, guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.